All right, everybody, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Tyler Smith. I'm coming to you live from UD Arena. Got the media pass here today. Going to be talking about the NCAA tournament bracket. We have a couple videos coming to you today. First one that this video actually is here right now is going to be me walking you through my March Madness bracket, my picks, why I'm picking certain teams, how I'm feeling about certain ways. And then after that, we're going to have a video coming out later today breaking down the 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock-ish games this evening featuring Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Southeastern Missouri Hawks, then Mississippi State and Pitt. So far, those games will be playing tonight at UD Arena Live, first 4, 6, and 9 p.m. I think it's going to be on True TV, and I have the privilege of covering this one for you guys. But right now, I'm going to be walking you through my March Madness picks and what I'm thinking, how we're doing this. So I'm going to share my screen here for you all, and we're going to walk through this entire thing step by step. I'm going to break it down for you. So the first region we're going to be starting with the South region, where we see Alabama. We'll be playing the winner of A&M Corpus Christi or Southeastern Missouri Redhawks. And those two teams, I think the story lies here between Texas A&M Corpus Christi moving on. They're 23-10, 14-4 in their conference. And I know the Southeastern Missouri Redhawks won the Ohio Valley Conference, but they were a lower seed in there where they went 10-8 in conference play. And what really stands out to me about this Texas A&M Corpus Christi team is their KenPom ranking of 170 compared to Southeastern Missouri's KenPom of 257. So I think A&M Corpus Christi is going to move on and win this first one, but I think they lose to Alabama in the round of 64. And then we go down to Maryland, West Virginia. Maryland, West Virginia, two teams that are pretty good so far this year. Big 10, Big 12 coming out. And what stands out to me is Maryland's inability to play on the road. And that's why I'm going to go with West Virginia in this one. Impress Virginia. Coach Huggins in the Hall of Fame. And I really like West Virginia. Used to be one and done here, but they're definitely going to get past Maryland. And I do apologize if you hear some music, screams, and yelling in the background. I'm live from the arena right now. I'm watching South Texas getting their warm-ups in. And now we got them doing windmill dunks. The band sitting down here. A bunch of fans in UD Arena right now, open to the public, but still trying to crank out something for you here. And then we have the 5-12 matchup in the South, San Diego State, Charleston. Charleston's a really kind of like if you had to give them like a ranking 1 to 5 in Cinderella scale, I'll give them a 3, but I like San Diego State to move on here. Then we have Virginia and Furman. I think Virginia's is too experienced. This is a game that Virginia is susceptible in. I don't think Virginia makes a far run this tournament, but I do think Virginia's ability with their system and their veteran backcourt that they'll do a fine job getting past Furman, but then they get beat by San Diego State. Just a little foreshadowing there for you. Then I really like Creighton. NC State honestly shouldn't be in the tournament. I know they have an electric backcourt pairing, but Creighton was a top 17 preseason, a team that very much their ceiling very well could be a national title Final Four run. So I'm going to have them getting past NC State. Then Baylor here, UC Santa Barbara. I'm going to pick Baylor. UC Santa Barbara has been a team historically getting into the tournament over the last few years. Causes some problems, but I think Baylor does enough to get past them there. Then we have Missouri, Utah State. I think this is going to be one of the more fun games to watch in the opening rounds. I really like Missouri to win this one over Utah State. Both these teams, great offenses. Not a lot of defense can be played in this one. I really like Missouri to move on here. And then Arizona will beat Princeton. And then we're going to keep working down the board. We're going to go to the East. Texas Southern, and then we have FDU. And this is another game that I get to watch. I like Texas Southern a lot in this one. Watching them warm up, there's kind of like a swagger they got going about themselves here. And we take a moment to look. I'll pull up their KenPom rankings for you. Excuse the crazy volume in this building. But Texas Southern coming out of the SWAC, 285 KenPom rating versus FDU. We're going to take a second to look back here, and I'll show you what this looks like on the ESPN side of things as well. As this loads, UD Arena Wi-Fi going a little slow sometimes here. And the FDU game will be played tomorrow, Wednesday, March 15th. Fairleigh Dickinson University taking on Texas Southern. Texas Southern KenPom rating around the 285 range. And let's check out what Fairleigh Dickinson's looking at. Fairleigh Dickinson 312. So really, if you don't know what KenPom is, it is one of the most crucial and influential statistics here. Actually, a conference sent a team to the NCAA tournament this year strictly based upon their KenPom rating rather than their typical true rating of ranking systems and head-to-head and all that good stuff. But I think Texas Southern's going to get past Fairleigh Dickinson and lose to Purdue. Now we have Memphis FAU, another fun game to watch. I think Memphis is going to move on. They proved something the other day, winning the AAC over Houston. Then we have Duke Oral Roberts. Duke is a team that a lot of people are saying could go Final Four bound now, taking on Oral Roberts and Max Amos, who's honestly one of the best electric players. This is the best mid-major in the tournament. And I really would have liked to see Oral Roberts go far in this tournament, but unfortunately I don't like their pairing versus Duke, so we're going to go Duke over Oral Roberts. Then we're going to go Louisiana, the first big upset I'm predicting here, over Tennessee. Tennessee's health is very concerning, and I like Louisiana to move on, but then lose to Duke in the next round. Then we go Kentucky or Providence. This is going to be a matchup between Oscar Tshiebwe and their Providence's star, who's from Kentucky, transferring to Providence. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I like Kentucky to move on here. And then we have Kansas State taking on Montana State. Turn on Do Not Disturb, getting a lot of notifications there. And we got Michigan State, USC. So I like Kansas State to beat Montana State. And I like Tom Izzo to lead the Spartans over USC. Then I like Shaka Smart to take Marquette to the next round. Down here, UCLA is going to be too much for UNC Asheville. Then I like Northwestern over Boise. Gonzaga, TCU, beating Arizona State or Nevada, the winner of that one. That's going to be a fun game to watch here in Dayton during the first four. Then I like UConn to defeat Rick Pitino, who resurrected his career at Iona. Then I like VCU to beat St. Mary's, strictly because VCU's defense is extendable. It's playable wherever you are. And I think St. Mary's will struggle, especially being off for the last few weeks. Then I like Arkansas and their talent to beat Illinois, then Kansas over Howard. Then we're going to go to the top right portion, the Midwest. And we have Houston taking on Northern Kentucky. I like Houston. I like Iowa's offense over Auburn. Then I like Miami beating Drake and Indiana. I think this game right here, the 4-5 Indiana-Miami, is going to be a very fun one to watch. Then I think Mississippi State Pitt game. I think Pitt wins that one. I like Pitt to beat Iowa State. And then Xavier over Kennesaw State. And I like Penn State to beat Texas A&M. The reason why Penn State did it well in the Big Ten tournament and guard Jalen Pickett is electric. I think Jalen Pickett's going to do something here. It has something to prove. I think he defeats Texas A&M. But then, unfortunately, they will run into Texas and get bounced. And we're going to go reverse order here. Start back from where we just ended. I like Texas to beat Penn State. I like Xavier over Pitt or Mississippi State. And I think that's going to be Pitt. Then I like Indiana to beat Miami. Then I like Houston to beat Iowa. And then we go Alabama, West Virginia. Alabama has two of everything. They're going to do great in this tournament. They're going to make a Final Four run. Then I like San Diego State to beat Virginia. Virginia's a great team, but I think San Diego State will outdo them. Then I like Creighton to beat Baylor, and I like Arizona over Missouri. Then we go down to the East. I like Memphis to beat Purdue here. I think Memphis is going to be playing with a lot of grit. They have the best scoring combination of any team in the NCAA. So I really like them to defeat Purdue here. If it's not Memphis beating Purdue, then it's going to be Duke beating Purdue in the next round. But when you're making your brackets, you have sometimes, my bracket, I don't know how you guys play it, but mine is based off seed winning. So, I'm going to get more points if Memphis beats Purdue here than if I had Purdue moving on and then getting bounced. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it. But I really like Memphis to win this one as well. Then we're going to go Duke over Louisiana. I like Kentucky and Oscar Tshiebwe over Kansas State. And I like Marquette and Shaka Smart. Now we have what regions? It's going to be the West. We're going to go top to bottom here. I like Kansas over Arkansas. I like UConn over VCU. I like Gonzaga over TCU and UCLA. We get a great matchup down here, the 2-3 Gonzaga, UCLA, and a great one up here in 1-4 UConn and Kansas. Now we're going to start back to the top. Alabama, San Diego State. Miller is going to be too much for San Diego State to handle. KD-esque. I like Alabama to get to what would then be the Elite Eight. Then I like Creighton to upset Arizona. Creighton, if you recall, a team that was selected to be top 10 in the preseason poll, a team that a lot of people liked coming out of Iowa. And this game's going to be Sweet 16 in Louisville, Kentucky. And I like Creighton to beat Arizona and their bigs. Houston, Indiana. I think Houston had a great season. The loss of Marcus Sasser will be too much. And I think Jackson of Indiana is going to be too much. Jackson and their young guard combo, the freshman of the year in the Big Ten. Jalen Hood, Schifino. I knew it was Jalen Hood, but couldn't remember the last part. Jalen Hood, Schifino, and Jackson Davis are going to prevail to be too much over Houston. I like Indiana to beat Houston. And this one I think is a really tough game here, Texas and Xavier. ESPN saying that Texas is heavily, but I really like Xavier coming out of the Big East here. Just something about that team and the Big East. But Texas has proven something, with all the drama they have surrounding themselves and Chris Beard. I'm going to lean Texas here slightly, but then I have Indiana beating Texas. And then we're going to stay up here, and we're going to pick our winner out of the South region. I have Alabama beating Creighton in the South. Now we get to the bottom, where it's a little bit less chalk than usual. I have Duke advancing. Then I like Marquette to advance over Kentucky. Then I have Gonzaga and UConn. So this is where it gets to be a little less chalk, as I mentioned a moment ago. Duke and Marquette, UConn, Gonzaga. And let's do a minute to break these games down. So opponents per game. Marquette 70.6, Duke 63.9. Duke is the 32nd best offense in the best defense in the country. But what stands out to me here is Marquette 7-2 versus the top 25, and they did amazing this year. And the decision tree very much leading towards Marquette. Notable results, Duke beat Xavier by 7, lost and split with Miami, lost to Purdue by 19, lost to Kansas by 5, split Virginia, split Wake Forest, and split Tech. Marquette lost to Zach Edey and the Purdue Boilermakers by 5, 2-1 versus UConn, beat Baylor by 26, beat Creighton twice, beat Xavier twice, and resounding beating in the Big East Championship game. And then they beat Providence as well and lost to Mississippi State by 3. I really like Shaka Smart. He's a coach that has something to prove here. Duke gives them a run, but I like Marquette to advance. Then we look at UConn Gonzaga down here. I think either of these teams go on to the Final Four here and beat Indiana. As you hear Nevada getting introduced. Take one moment here. But in this pick, UConn versus Gonzaga. Break this one down for you. 65 opponents, points per game. UConn has a much better defense than Gonzaga. And UConn has something to prove. I think UConn in the Big East were a dangerous conference this year. And if we look at some comparable results, here's what stands out to me. Both these teams have beat Bama. But then if you look at the rest of Gonzaga's notable results, Purdue lost by 18, Texas lost by 19, Baylor by 1, split this with St. Mary's. They went 2-1 versus St. Mary's, beat Kentucky by 16, beat Xavier by 4. What stands out to me here, this Alabama win by 15, a win against Marquette. That's why I like this Connecticut team, UConn, and their bigs. I think that's what's going to be a big thing. They're big, man. They have 2 great bigs, and I think that's going to be enough to get over the hump. Now we have Indiana versus UConn, Alabama, Marquette. Alabama offense too strong for Shaka Smart and the Golden Eagles of Marquette. And then we look at Indiana, UConn. Indiana, UConn's a fun game to watch. That'll be a great one. But I don't think it's a tough one. You can go with the star power of the Hoosiers with Trace Jackson Davis and Jaden Hood. But something about this UConn team's been sticking out to me, and this Big East is really nice. I don't know. That might just be me. The Big East looked really good this year. I'm going to go. It's a tough pick. It's a very tough pick. I think if Texas is here, I think Texas matches up better against UConn. But I think Indiana does enough to beat Texas. So if it's UConn, Indiana, I like UConn to advance, and I like Alabama to win the national title. But if Texas gets in, I like Texas to get to the national title game over UConn. But I think Indiana gets there. But realistically, I think Indiana, Texas, or Xavier all get in. And the only team that beats UConn, I think, is Texas. But I'm going to have UConn going to the national championship game and Alabama winning it all. But that is really how it looks. So we're going to look here. I'll throw you up my bracket. This is what it looks like as we switch screens and I'll navigate through this. We have Alabama going all the way here. So we have Alabama beating West Virginia, San Diego State, and Creighton on their way, and then beating Marquette on their way to a national title. The only true upsets, I guess, I have built into this one, you have a Cinderella in a sense with Creighton moving on to what would be the Elite Eight. And then the bigger upset I have going on here would be Memphis over Purdue. Duke is going to slip into the Elite Eight, which is not much of an upset, but a lot of people are predicting that now. And then I also will give you Marquette going through. We have Northwestern, Gonzaga, UConn, St. Mary's. I like VCU to get over them. VCU's defense over St. Mary's is going to be a big one. This Howard team will play Kansas tougher than most 16 seeds would, as you would expect. I like Penn State to beat A&M. I like Xavier to get through. I like Pitt not only to beat Mississippi State, but to beat Iowa State. And Indiana slipping through. This game will be a lot of fun to watch, but I think Indiana will beat Miami due to Miami's health issues. Iowa, their offense will carry them over Auburn. This game could be ugly, or it could be pretty and a fun one to watch. Vice versa, it can be an interesting matchup nonetheless, that 8-9 spot. But this is my bracket. We got Alabama, Marquette, Indiana, UConn in the Final Four. Not as chalk as you would have expected this year. And I like Alabama to go on to win the national title. But that's just my picks right now going in to what would be day one of March Madness, first 4 games night. Coming to you live from UD Arena. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was fun to watch, fun to talk. And we have some videos coming out breaking down the first 4 games later this evening. All the best. Take care. It's Tyler Smith, keeping it real, live from UD Arena. Take care, everybody.